I'm not sure what I was expecting with Megabonk. It seemed like a schlocky meme game akin to Banana, which is goated, don't get me wrong. I soon found out it was closer to the video game equivalent of a bag of plain potato chips. I didn't want anything to do with it until I got hungry enough to take a nibble. Now I can't stop and I have to finish it, all of it. I want to rip it up and lick the bag clean. Megabonk is the kind of refreshing gaming experience that AAA studios can't figure out how to make, and yet Vetinad did it all by their lonesome. Nobody even knows who Vetinad is outside of their YouTube channel, but there is some rumblings that it's possibly a pseudonym for a bigger creator, but no one really knows for now. How do shadowy figures like Vetinad come through with these out-of-the-blue surprise hits that AAA and even other indie developers can't seem to figure out? Even if it all seems like a big joke, it still boils down to passion. You don't helm an indie game alone unless you're trying to scam a few bucks off of a half a dozen people, or if you have this thing inside of you that you desperately need to give to the world. 100,000 of us players on Steam are glad that they did. You might think I'm being a little dramatic, but that's only because you haven't given Megabonk a fair shake yet, my friend. It's not just a meme-ridden world. I mean, every inch of the game is covered in memes, yeah, even the title screen is a reference to Minecraft, but no, it's so much more than that. At first, you're presented with deceitfully easy gameplay that will eventually become a hypnotizing, chaotic loop that pairs well with its super addicting progression system, both out on a run and from the meta progression throughout the menus and unlockables. Then you realize that the timer atop the screen doesn't actually end the run, and it's just a warm-up before real insanity sets in and you're sweating your balls off to stay alive. The first time is an absolute nightmare. You might already be thinking, how is this dude's tits blown off this hard when the developer has already mentioned that the game is heavily inspired by Risk of Rain 2 and Vampire Survivors. Now, I love me some Risk of Rain 2, but I've never played any game in the realm of Vampire Survivors. I had this really weird nitpicky thing about top-down and side-scroller games pretty much my entire life, but you guys changed that when you made me play Noida, and I felt like a lifelong fool. Let's get some free gold real quick. Oh, I'm so stupid. Noida is a masterpiece, and I know that now. One more. All right, it is kind of addicting. I don't know why. So yeah, I might be a little bit more jazzed than most people, but this is my first time delving into an experience like this. At first, I was really put off by the auto-fire system. Competitive games have wired me to think I need to be a god gamer at every moment. But really, dumbing down the shooting mechanics helps to get you more involved in the incredibly fun movement mechanics that are in the game. And as you get to harder levels in the game, you realize why it's auto-fire, because the movement is so crucial and you've already got so much stuff on your plate and like 1,000 people rushing you all at once. That's not to say there's not any competition. Your competition is the whole world, as everyone is competing for time records. And your buds, too. I said the game is deceptively easy because it's not. It's actually incredibly challenging, and the meta progression is the only thing you can rely on to succeed, at least with minimal game knowledge. That whole line of business, RNG with items and level ups, as well as procedural generation are pretty much what make a roguelike a roguelike. You've got to pay your dues. Outside of minimal information on objectives, the game doesn't exactly tell you what to do. It wants you to replay and figure out things over time. That's why the rounds are so short, sweet, and delicious. Even with this system built on keeping you replaying the game, it never feels like it's trying to waste your time. Megabonk just really wants you to earn the bells and whistles. It's not trying to FOMO you and keep your eyes peeled to the screen for every waking moment of your day. You're not even really being teased with additional content because a lot of that extra stuff is all hidden. That's not even mentioning the quests and challenges, which offer even more stuff to unlock. You find out about all the great meta progression as you go along, like the shops, unlockables, skins, levels, and maybe even more stuff too. I can't say for certain. The gameplay feels kind of like COD Zombies with all the kiting and running for your life. Not to mention the power-ups that spawn from dead bad guys. But unlike COD, those drops don't expire, so use your nukes and stonks at the most opportune times. In fact, I'd encourage you not to pick them up at all until you know you can reap maximum effects, especially in the early game. Saving a time stop or an attack speed boost for when you get into the boss battle can make it so much easier on you. Can we go back to sketchy AAA tactics again real quick? The game doesn't try to FOMO you into playing more, but it does have gamba. And let me tell you, there is nothing like hitting a legendary chest. Nothing. All the gamba isn't microtransactions, by the way. It's the chests you'd find while out on a run. It's nothing predatory. I was just having a bit of a goof. But just listen to that slot machine siren song and tell me you don't feel the hype. Did I mention this game is only $10? 10 smackers and no microtransactions in sight. God damn, this is why indie is the way to go, my friends. Other games with a shop might want you to spend 3 times you paid for the game itself to get a color swap on one of your 20 characters, but here in Megabonk you get to buy goofy and or useful things for your runs. For example, a boombox that lets you change the music while you're playing, which harkens back to when games didn't give a fuck and players' comfortability was one of the main concerns during development. Yeah, it's a small thing, but why doesn't every game let you do shit like that? Enough about the customization though, is it fun? Remember the terrible potato chip analogy? It's insanely addicting. It feels like every run something is gained. It makes it so easy to just start another one, even when you should be doing important shit like working on the YouTube video for Megabonk, oh shit. And stop worrying about the auto shooting because it's secretly a movement game that lives and dies on your drive for a power fantasy, as any good roguelite or roguelike should. While shredding ass on a skateboard, you'll find silver coins for experience and gold coins to help you buy shit like chests and even items from vendors. You'll get a couple when you kill something, or if you bust pots and tumbleweeds, stuff like that. You gotta go and grab most of the cashola yourself, but you could use a magnet, among other things. When it comes to leveling up, you can usually just go with whatever color is the prettiest. It's the standard system of white to yellow, but they do offer different effects when you select them. Like one epic purple might say projectile increase, while a different epic upgrade for the same item or weapon can offer a damage buff instead. I will say I haven't seen the same weapon multiple times on the same choice wheel with different options that I can remember. There's a lot to do on the map too, like challenges and even collectibles that lead you to more characters. That's how I got Monkey. I rescued him from his low-key, disturbingly sad prison. That's the point though. Keep playing. Keep uncovering each layer. You will start with a level of fear, not trusting that anything will help you, like it's all a big joke. The only non-aggressive NPC is a vendor, and even he thinks I'm an idiot. No one's saying he's wrong, not even me. That's why if I missed anything in this video, it's up to you to jump in the comments and give some extra advice or additional information that you think people should know. Try not to spoil too much though, because I've barely just beaten the first level. Yeah, maybe him is a skill issue. Well, not entirely actually, because as it turns out, you can only beat a stage if you're playing on tier 2 and you beat the boss in under the time limit. That's when the portal opens up for you to continue onward. For a game virtually free of bugs, that little bit of info not being given to the players seems like a big bouquet of oopsie daisies on the quality of life front. That's alright, I still figured it out after about 5 hours, alongside the discovery of being able to aim with the sniper by pressing right click when it's equipped. All these little tidbits of information I was soaking up actually led me to the nastiest run you could imagine, which led to the ultimate stress test. Now that my son's awake, can she hold up until he needs to take his nap? While on a run, regardless of how much you're popping off, there's no save system in place, which is sadly a feature that a lot of roguelites and roguelikes are missing, so I decided to leave it running for 8 hours. How do you think this graphical looker held up? Just fine. Like I said, it's basically bug-free. Hell, it's not even in early access. Those two things were starting to feel like commonplace with every new release, indie or AAA. I wanted to assure y'all, because I care about you, that it's not the shovelware it seems to be when you're browsing on Steam. Megabonk is a reminder that $20 Fortnite skins aren't actually important, and that game development should focus more on having up-to-date slurs in their games instead. But really though, the non-stop tomfoolery doesn't take anything away from such a solid, engaging, rewarding, good time. It's a recipe that could so easily fall apart and make players cringe the entire time. It's such a delicate line you have to walk to be able to do this right. You either end up with moldy cheese or a scrumptious Borgar. Somehow it's clear that heaps of passion and care was put into a game that features thunderclapping booty cheeks from a Chad slow walking past 300 raving mad ghouls and goblins. And Megabonk is Megabonk, unapologetically. It might look like it's taken the cheap route of here's meme, game good and funny, but really there's a lot of layers to it. And it could easily be the next game that you fall in love with. You know, the big suck. You know, this game kind of reminds me of how much I appreciate the members of this channel. That group of amazing people give extra support to my family and I every month, and they don't have to do that, but they do it anyways. And I'll forever appreciate that beautiful bunch of people for doing that. I hope you enjoyed hearing me gush over Megabonk, and I hope you decide to give it a shot. Despite what it might look like on the outside, it's well worth your time, and there's a reason it shot up so much in popularity. Sure, at some point some co-op would be nice, and maybe even some Steam Workshop mods, that would be great too. too. But at least everything else is simply exquisite. And I didn't even mention the music, which is so freaking good. How did I not have like 5 minutes dedicated to how much the music is awesome? It's really great. You know, that's always the nice bow tie on top of a game on how good the music is. Kind of like the bow tie. I meant to say like a ribbon tie, like a present. There's your present, Megabonk. And it's kind of like how you tie off the end of the video by not sounding like a raving lunatic for the last like 30 seconds. Good job. Way to go. You've never been able to do that, me.